Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. News at 12.
In the local scene, the provincial government of Albay conducted a free mass spay and castration activity in Barangay Lapni to promote responsible pet ownership and strengthen rabies prevention efforts. The activity provided free veterinary services for residents and helped manage the stray and domestic animal population in the area. The initiative was led by the Albay Veterinary Office and the Malinao Municipal Agriculture Office with support from local officials, the Philippine National Police, and the Bureau of Fire Protection. Provincial officials said the activity forms part of the Albay's continuing public health and community animal welfare campaign. In other story, the Sangguniang Panlalawigan ng Albay approved a resolution validating Libon's municipal public safety program aimed at improving safety and security in public areas. The ordinance seeks to strengthen traffic management, increase the visibility and safety personnel, and improve protection of critical facilities. Board member Harold O. Imperial said the program will also strengthen interagency coordination and community participation in maintaining peace and order. The committee cited the constitutional mandate of the state to protect life, property, and public welfare. In other news, newly promoted employees of the provincial government of Albay officially took their oath for plantinia positions during a ceremony led by Governor Noel E. Rizal on May 18. The oath-taking marked the formal assumption of new responsibilities in various provincial offices and departments. Among those promoted were Darla May Z. Bulalakaw as Provincial Assessor Department Head and Engineer Karen B. Olaires as Provincial Human Settlement Officer. Governor Noel Rizal congratulated the employees and encouraged them to continue providing dedicated public service to Albayanos. In the national scene, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano said on Monday that he is ready to accept any leadership change in the Senate, even if his term as Senate President ends after only a few days. Cayetano said he would accept whatever role is given to him, or whether it is a short stay as Senate President or leading the Senate during a possible impeachment process. He also said he was thankful for the support of senators who backed him, despite what he described as a strong political pressure against their group. Speaking during a prayer gathering at the Senate, Cayetano mentioned reports that the shortest-serving Senate President held the post for only 13 days, adding that he may serve for an even shorter period. Cayetano also rejected calls for his resignation over last week's shooting incident at the Senate building, saying the National Bureau of Investigation should instead answer questions about the incident and the firing of shots inside the Senate premises. In other story, the Senate Secretariat has confirmed receiving the preventive suspension order against Acting Sergeant at Arms Mau Aplaska and the subpoena requesting CCTV footage linked to the gunfire incident at the Senate, Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clavano said. Officials from the Office of the Ombudsman returned to the Senate on Monday to formally serve the suspension order and subpoena after Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Rimulya earlier said the documents had initially been refused. Aplaska, a former police general, admitted firing a warning shot after seeing a National Bureau of Investigation agent whom he believed had already entered Senate grounds, although the NBI said its personnel were only at the GSIS side of the complex leased by the Senate. Remulla stressed that firing a gun inside a government office is unacceptable and said subpoenas would also be issued to senators and officials from the DILG, NBI, and PNP who were present before and during the incident. In other news, the Senate convened Monday afternoon as an impeachment court for Vice President Sara Duterte, even as rumors spread about another possible leadership change in the chamber. Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano said a trial would begin at around 3 p.m., with senators expected to wear crimson robes as they hear accusations that Duterte misused confidential funds, threatened President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and his family, and accumulated unexplained wealth. Legal experts and the House lawmakers stressed that the Senate is constitutionally required to hold the impeachment trial and cannot simply dismiss the case, while Cayetano assured the public that senators would decide fairly based on evidence. Malacanang also said the impeachment process is solely the Senate's responsibility, as Palace Press Officer Claire Castro emphasized that the President would not interfere in Senate affairs or any leadership disputes within the chamber. Political tensions in the Senate intensified after the 30 allied senators installed Cayetano as Senate President on May 11 with support from Senator Ronald De La Rosa. Analysts now say another leadership shakeup could happen, which may make Cayetano the shortest-serving Senate President in the Philippine history. And into news outside the country, U.S. President Donald Trump warned Iran to quickly move toward a peace deal, saying there would be nothing left if it delays. Washington and Israel have been in conflict with Iran since major strikes began on February 28, stalling efforts to end the war and raising energy prices. The war has disrupted the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 20% of global oil exports pass. Hezbollah continues attacks on Israel despite ceasefire efforts, while Israeli strikes in Lebanon have killed more than 2,900 people, according to Lebanese authorities. Iranian media said negotiations with the United States have stalled because Washington has made no meaningful concessions and has issued strict demands. Regional tensions continue with incidents like a drone strike near a nuclear facility in Abu Dhabi, while Pakistan mediates talks and leaders discuss the conflict. In other story, the World Health Organization said that it still considers the hantavirus outbreak linked to a cruise ship to be a low risk to public as the vessel neared the Netherlands. The agency said its latest review, based on updated information, shows that the global risk remains low despite the ongoing situation on board. Officials noted that more infections could still appear among passengers and crew who were exposed earlier, but said a chance of further spread should drop once people leave the ship and control measures are fully in place. The MV Honjus, operated by Dutch firm Oceanwide Expeditions, is expected to arrive in Rotterdam on Monday, where the remaining 27 people on board will disembark after 3 passengers died from the rare hantavirus infection. And finally, in the news outside the country, with reference to the Philippines, The MV Honjus is due to arrive in Rotterdam after hantavirus outbreak that killed 3 passengers and prompted widespread evacuations. The World Health Organization said the overall risk remains low, stressing that human-to-human transmission of hantavirus is very rare. Among those set to disembark are 17 Filipinos, part of the final group of 27 people still on board the vessel. Authorities said the evacuees also include crew and medical staff who will undergo quarantine or self-isolation after disembarkation in the Netherlands. Health officials traced the virus to rodents, with earlier evacuations across countries confirming cases and prompting continued monitoring of those exposed. And that's the news at 12, May 19, 2026. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to all the news writers, Naomi Ruth Hernandez and Olje Lurejo. And on the technical side, Chad Bobis. And our Provincial Information Office OIC, Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel E. Rosal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing. Albay in my heart.